On the news at 1, Eid al-Fitr, Muslims converge on the national Eid ground for the 2-rakat prayer. President Buhari felicitates with Muslims on Eid al-Fitr, urges them to imbibe funds in the spirit of Salah.
Without this peace, I wouldn't have been here smiling and everything.
The Imam and worshippers observe that Allah's benevolent mercy has been sufficient for the country, which manifested in the just concluded general elections. This, they say, can be sustained through prayers and obedience to Allah. From the National Eid Ground, Abuja, Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
After weeks of rigorous spiritual discipline and worship comes the Eid al-Fitr, which is a festival of show of gratitude to Allah. In this special report, Onozo Yakubu puts into perspective the significance of Eid al-Fitr to Muslims.
Eid al-Fitr in Arabic means festival of breaking of fast. It is one of the most widely celebrated Islamic festivals, marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan. The festival is to appreciate God for affording Muslims the health and strength to endure the month-long Ramadan fast.
It is there you reunite, you have your communion with your Almighty God by using the advantage of those 2 rakats to ask for Allah's favors, mercies, blessings, and fortunes.
The period reminds Muslims on the need to embrace people from diverse social and economic cycles and to share the joy of festivities with the less privileged.
It is another opportunity whereby you are going to extend your charity to those around you and those who are far away from you.
Eid al-Fitr is set aside for merrymaking, and it is forbidden to fast on the Eid al-Fitr day in line with the Prophet's traditions. Onozo Yakubu, NTA News.
President Muhammad Buhari has congratulated the Muslim faithful on the successful completion of a demanding spiritual obligation, while praying to Allah to reward the Muslims for their sacrifice during the fasting season. President Buhari advised that they should not forget to imbibe the important lessons of the Ramadan, which include improving on the bond with less privileged and poor members of the society. In his goodwill message, signed by his Senior Special Assistant, Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, to mark the end of Ramadan fast and felicitate on the Eid al-Fitr festival, the President hails Nigerians for the peaceful 2023 general elections, calling on the citizens to work harder on tolerance. He says the outcome of the elections, which are in line with the pledge to leave a legacy of free and fair elections, will go down on record as one of the proudest achievements of his administration, in addition to his neutrality in the conduct of the elections. In his words, I quote, "The elections were so transparent, and even members of my party were rooted out and unseated. At one point, did I intervene with the process in order to give unfair advantage to anyone, as free and fair elections are the only principles that give credibility to democracy," end of quotes. Meanwhile, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Musa Bello, has expressed his warm felicitations to all residents of the Federal Capital Territory, especially the Muslim faithful, on the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, signifying the end of the holy month of Ramadan. The minister prays that the lesson learned during the Ramadan will inspire Muslims to continue to be kind and show compassion towards one another, which are virtues that residents of the FCT have always exhibited. His words, I quote, "Let's spare a thought for the less privileged members of the society and stretch out our hands of fellowship and generosity towards them, as exhibited during the holy month of Ramadan," end of quote. The minister expressed the hope that residents will always be guided by the principles on which the FCT was created, which are peace, unity, love for one another, and the progress and growth of the country, urging all to use the opportunity provided to fulfill the mandate of developing a nation's capital, even as he wishes all a memorable and worthwhile solar celebrations. Salih, retired, has rejoiced with the Muslims across the globe on this year's Eid al-Fitr celebration, marking the end of Ramadan fast. This is contained in a statement signed by his aide, Mohammed Abdul Qadri. The minister urged the faithful to celebrate modestly with the fear of Allah, who spared their others. The defense minister also stressed the need for Muslims to sustain the spiritual lessons and gains of fasting. He asked them never to go back to uncharitable acts. While congratulating the Muslims on the Eid al-Fitr, he prayed for the repose of as well as those who saw the beginning of fasting but were unable to see its end.
So there should be an institution like for widows.
A meal of Umatul Dawal Kuba, Salihu Musa in an exhortation observed that lack of faith in God for sustenance among the people has been the issue, hence admonishing the widows to move on with life, trusting Allah for better days.
Then no see this man that is coming, is not as handsome as my husband, or as wealthy as my husband. They then get married. But their marriage, it helped a lot. The man will be there to guide the children and guide them aright, because the woman cannot.
Census. These are more in just a moment.
The immediate cause of the latest queues in Abuja remains unknown.
Conceived with the intent to ease the flow of traffic in the nation's capital.
Whichever way it turns out, either to consolidate on the existing mandate or institute a new dispensation.
Located within the Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC.
How much do people know about ADR? Are charting a path to having more youth participate?
If we don't know the number of people, the most important thing that is good for us.
Well, they just have a misconstrued idea of what the policy is about. But a proper understanding of census would make them realize that it is important for them to be counted because they count.
Objectives of the workshop include to improve on the competence of stakeholders, hence the need for the publicity.
Their work is to go around FCT to make advocacy and to make publicity for the sake of census. They too have to be armed to be informed of the
for this workshop, because as a member of the publicity committee, you cannot give what you don't have.
With the understanding of what a country tends to achieve with the desired data, it is imperative that the entire citizens give the maximum cooperation towards a successful census come 3rd May. Charity Zakka, NTA News.
Religious and traditional rulers in the Abuja Municipal Area Council have been tasked on ensuring a hitch-free 2023 census exercise in May. This was at the one-day interactive session at the AMAC Secretariat in Abuja. Deborah Gazaji-Mike
became necessary based on submission of provide accurate data that will assist national planning.
We must have to create a synergy with the local government chairman and the executive implementing this particular policy so that at the end of the time you can mobilize whatever you are supposed to mobilize for the efficacy of this census and all.
Everybody in Nigeria must be counted. Everybody in Abuja must be counted. And everybody in the municipal area council must be counted, whether you are old, whether you are young.
Mekalango, represented by the council secretary Jafar Hassan Gwagwa, urges all to ensure a huge free census exercise come May.
We cannot leave any sort of tongue in the aspect of the security. We must make sure we provide adequate security so that we have a success and free census.
The session also discussed challenges such as insecurity and language barrier likely to be encountered by the enemy.
Commenced the prosecution of illegal estate developers at the FCT Urban and Regional Tribunal and other anti-graft agencies. Director Development Control Department Mukhtar Galadima disclosed this when he led officials to demolish contravening structures in Kukwaba District, Abuja. Onoze Yakubu tells us more.
For both government and off-takers, the FCT Development Control Department, otherwise known as Development Police, says activities of illegal estate developers are tantamount to committing economic crimes, which the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, should beam its searchlight on. By city managers have the view that the resources government commit into demolition is huge and cannot be sustained. These affected structures encroach on a reserved green area and waterways.
You can visibly see where a floodable plain, marshy area, is being converted to structures. So we felt it is very bad, and the best thing is to nip it at this stage before even coming up. Take simultaneous actions